What the hell is this? I really don't understand it. What the hell is wrong with y'all? You ain't that damn good. Stop acting like it.
I'm ineffectual, privileged, effete, soft penis debutante.
Stop right there. Stop. No.
We think it amazing.
Something I've just noticed is that our intro song is also the same song they used when they put on the Power Surge at the Big Bash. But anyway, here we are, the final stretch. Round 8 is being wrapped up as we speak, and the no double, no bye round 9 looms upon us. Now, if you're like me, you're wanting this to end after trading out Bethel and Edwards this round and benching Ollie Pope, and you're meant to be listening to us. Well, maybe it's worth your time just listening to the other bloke. I'm yet to introduce the man who's held down the fort for us while I kicked my feet up on holidays. Resident Numbers boy, Nate. How are we?
I'm all right. This position of not actually hosting the show is much more comfortable to me. I just sit in the corner. I'm told when to talk. I read my numbers off Apple Notes. I get all nerdy, and then I go back to my closet, and closet's a word that insinuates other things, but we'll roll with it.
Probably.
Anyway, no, it's good to have you back and not talk into the top of my iPad for 30 minutes. So, yeah,
it's
not
good
bad.
to have
Nice.
discussion, I guess. And, there's no judgment on your proclivities wherever you hide. Round 8 is being wrapped up as we speak, as I said in the intro. I guess we'll just quickly wrap through it. The Thunder played the Scorchers for the first game of the round. Thunder scored 158 to the Scorchers 97. Thunder won by 61 runs with Chris Green and Tom Andrews with 154 and 100 respectively. Lance Morris and Cooper Connolly with 78 and 62 topping out the Scorchers scorers. Also a Sam Constas 68 for those who have held over the course of the season. Any big takeaways from this, Nathan? I know David Warner, the one game that you would have probably liked him to go big, that goes out there and scores 18 after being one of the more consistent players in SuperCoach. Any other thoughts?
I mean, Chris Green's probably the perfect place to start at. 154 points. I suppose this was always going to be his natural ceiling when he was listed at number 6. I mean, you go into a primal rounder spot, you're the team's leading spinner on a spinning deck. In hindsight's a beautiful thing, but with the benefit of it, he should have been the vice captain. Warner's consistency was too good to pass up on, but the role for Green was superb in this game and the situation as well. I mean, he performed, 3 wickets, amazing economy. It was enough to go. Was it 3 for 16 or 4? It was something like that.
I'll go check, but keep speaking.
You check. And, it was shown spin to win. Tom Andrews is a perfect example of that. Yes, he scored 60 of his runs in his batting. 60 of his points in his batting, rather. But regardless, he got a wicket and got 10 points of economy, so he went under 7 and over. So, spin was clearly the go. The Thunder applied it. The Scorchers did not. Well, the Scorchers did, actually. It just they didn't apply themselves with their batting is really the truth of it, to be honest. What have you got for us?
Chris Green went at 3.25.
Yeah. So, great stuff. A lot of people would have sold him too. That's the other cruel blow. The thumbs up's back. How good. A lot of people would have sold him. But that's just the way SuperCoach goes. You can't dwell on these things. You probably sold him for a double game player. Odds are they'll go close to matching Green's score. So that's just the way it is, I suppose.
Tom Andrews took Jason Behrendorff, along with there was a couple of Chris Green runs in that last over, but there was about 25 in total off that last over. Off Behrendorff that really, I think, just took momentum for the Thunder and changed the game completely. They came out there, bowled well. I don't really have much else to say apart from we all must remember Aaron Hardy's absolute barbecue of the century for Cooper Connolly. And at that, good fielding by Chris Green. I got nothing else.
Yeah.
You?
Well, actually, let's tie back to this barbecue. You know,
Sure.
you've got Aaron Hardy at one end, who's been struggling all season. You've got the new kid Sam Fanning, who's fresh off a 50. He's looking in reasonable touch. You know, and Aaron Hardy's doing everything he possibly can. He's like 1 off 7, 1 off 8 sort of thing at this point, right? And he's gone, yeah, as he's hit it straight to a fielder, and then gone, no. Now, I actually want to dissect this, go even further into it. Sam Fanning didn't even look at the ball. Now, I understand, you know, it is really on, a lot of this goes to Aaron Hardy, but you should at least look at the ball, at least know where it is as the non-striker, so that you yourself aren't backing up so far and just blindly trusting what Aaron Hardy was seeing, because what he saw was, yeah, he's blind. I reckon his eyes are painted on, because that ball was hit straight to green.
I remember Mark Warren comms speaking about how far up Chris Green moved, and there was that, but it's sort of irrelevant. You're a professional cricketer. You need to be. Anyway, we could,
Yeah.
but we won't.
Yeah.
And Aaron Hardy's also been selected for the Champions Trophy, which is good. The Hurricanes and the Renegades was played the other day. I don't remember when, but it was the other day. And let's have a look at some of the scores here. Mitch Owen and Ryan Meredith topped out for the Hurricanes, 114 and 88. And Jacob, I thought it was lower than that. It was 170 points for Jacob Bethel, the only Renegade who did anything of note, really, because second top scorer was Tom Rogers on 42, followed closely by a 41 and a 40 by Sutherland and Fergus O'Neill. So, we must mention that Billy Stanlake, shoulder injury, out for the rest of the season, and is being replaced by, I forgot his first name, but it's Bean. It's
Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean's bowling.
We'll go with that.
Yeah.
He's actually bowling right now as I speak. He got the wicket of Nathan McSween in his second ball. Anyway, we can talk about that later, I suppose. Chris Jordan was out, and I also paid the price for that because I was on a plane and I didn't realise that he was out. So, look, excuses galore here. Bethel also bowled, and got 2 wickets, which was really sort of the icing on the cake for me. But I want just a take or two from you about how you felt about this game.
I mean, let's start with Jacob Bethel. I'm relatively certain that this was the highest single game score of the season. I'm relatively certain on that. I know that Steve Smith and Matt Short went 166 and 164. There's a couple of big scores knocking about in that regard, but I'm pretty sure Jacob Bethel's 170 is the highest score of the season, and it figures right. You score 87 runs at a strike rate above 160 and take 2 wickets and a catch. There may have even been a run out thrown in there as well. I'll have a look. No, there wasn't. I was imagining things. But 170 points. It's the sort of ceiling you can get from some of these guys that bowl a few overs and bat in the top 4. Just ask Matthew Short, Cooper Connolly. Like, they're prime examples of this. And to an extent, kind of carried over for Mitch Owen in this one as well. Bowled for the first time this season, picked up a wicket, had 2 catches, had a run out because he's a big athletic specimen, which means he gets put out in the deep, and that therefore means he's got a rocket arm on him. And then he opens the batting and strikes at 170, really, which means he got 114 from just chipping away all across the park with the bat, with the ball, and in the field. You know, just 40 points in each department, just about.
Yeah, he had 1 wicket with the ball. I'm seeing 2 catches here. He had a run out and 24 off 14. So he gets that strike rate bonus. No economy rate bonus. He didn't bowl 3 overs. He's actually bowling now. there's cricket on, and we are watching cricket, and I will do that, as is my right and want. Yeah, I had the vice captain on Mitch Owen, so we looped that immediately.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Bit of an odd one as well, considering I just back to Mitch Owen about how I would have thought he would have bowled a bit more. Tim David bowled 2 overs, went for 20, with Billy Stanley being injured and only bowling the 1 over, so there was 3 overs available. That's really the X's and O's stuff that doesn't really matter and no one really wants. We'll move on. Yes?
Yeah. I suppose we should address the couple of outs. I mean, you mentioned Chris Jordan. Obviously, Ben McDermott missed as well. What I like is the clarity that you get from Matthew Wade and the Hobart Hurricanes. So at around 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon, Matthew Wade was asked in a press conference about whether or not Ben McDermott will play tomorrow. And Wade's comment was, yeah, he's looking good. I think he's a really good chance to play. McDermott wasn't named in the 24-hour squad. So I like that, there's either clear communication or just flat out misinformation. I like that consistency. I just thought I'd highlight that.
That's sort of something you get from us as well, but it's not about us, it's about Matthew Wade. Strikers Sixers played last night. 5 for 182, the Strikers, to the Sixers 7 for 183. It ebbed and flowed for that last sort of 10 overs, and eventually the Sixers took it home. Whether they should have or not lays to Strikers fans, I suppose, and those who care. Jamie Overton topped out for the Strikers with 102, followed by Ollie Pope with 82, and Smith with 87, and Ben Dwarshuis with 67 for the Sixers. 52 runs for Steve Smith yesterday, so not quite the 100 that we were all hoping when everyone traded him in and expected 100.
Yeah, run out.
But you take the 87. I will. Whether or not anyone else will is a different story, but I will. I'll ask again, Nathan. Takeaways?
Well, I mean, Steve Smith, let's start there. He looks out of this world in the Big Bash. Like, this comp is just, it's nothing for him. He's too good for this comp. That's clear. That was clear after the first game. It's been clear for the last 2 or 3 years that he's played in the Big Bash. He is too good for us. And so I feel like when he retires from internationals or test matches, which could be 24 months away, it could be next year, could be after
12
the
months away.
Could be 12 months away. Could be tomorrow. You never know. He might just pull it out from under us.
It could be.
Or now. No. Okay. He didn't retire just now. But my point is, Steve Smith, the moment he retires from Test cricket and plays a full season at Big Bash, records will shatter. I don't care if it's 2 years down the track and he's lost his eyes. His technique is too good for this Big Bash. He will thrive just as well.
Pretty sure that would have been one of your comments. Lost eyes, painted on eyes, but that was when we were talking about Test cricket and that stuff. Remember that Test cricket?
No, that's got to be, that's so last year, man. So last year.
Anyway, we didn't cover that, but Australia did win that series 3-1. In case
we good, they suck. That's pretty much how I'd summarise it.
I think that'd be fair enough as well. Just your point about Steve Smith, I think we need to find a way to get these Test players to play a full season of Big Bash. I understand how difficult it is, but I understand David Warner's just retired, but you look at how David Warner's been playing, and he's got the golden bat at the moment, a golden cap for batting or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And Khawaja just hit 23 off 9. Labuschagne's still in 29 off 20 for the Heat. Imagine Mitch Stark, Josh Hazelwood, that's Steve Smith, obviously.
It's just it's an incredible lineup of Test stars that we could have, but we just never do for whatever reason. It's a shame because the quality of the Big Bash paired with some gun internationals, and you've got yourself a very, very good product to sell to the public, I suppose.
Yeah, Pat Cummins as well, the name that's floated off the top. And then
Mm.
you add in the fact that we have internationals leaving halfway through the comp and replacement ones coming in. And, like, as a Thunder fan at least, I would much rather have had Lockie Ferguson continue to play for us. More than Hussein. But Hussein's been semi-serviceable, I suppose. But, yeah. But, yeah. We couldn't really do the Brisbane Heat Hobart Hurricanes, could we?
Oh, we could probably recap the first 10 overs. Why not? Why not?
Sure.
I mean,
they're 2 for 103 at the moment.
Yep. Oh, 3 down now. 3 down.
Oh, sorry.
There was a run out. I must have been Renshaw got run out by Tim David. I mean, looking at the scores so far, you've got Mitch Owens bowling again, as you mentioned earlier. Ellis has a wicket. Mr. Bean, aka Marcus Bean, he's got a wicket as well on debut. But the same thing applies. Like Kawaja looked out of this world. Marnus Labuschagne. Matthew H has been hitting the nuts. So there's that. But
brilliant.
I think so. It's as you say, there's not much. Renshaw's on 65 before the fielding innings, so good score if you still have him. But people will be listening to this after the game's over, so let's move to the preview, I suppose.
What does it really mean? Another one that just Travis Head. Imagine Travis Head playing with Cameron Green playing big trash.
You do it. You're doing things to me. And what about Scott Boland? Big trash. Well, not trash, but inconsistent.
Maybe.
Yeah.
He could have said the same thing about Josh Hazlewood a couple of years ago, but anyway.
I knew. Okay. Let's preview the final round. What do you got for us?
Not a lot. No. Tomorrow night, the Sixers play the Thunder in the second Sydney Smash at the SCG. It's sort of just looking the same for, I suppose, both teams. Steve Smith is to play this game, yes. They just missed the finals, I believe.
Just misses finals.
How do you feel about this Sixers team, Nathan? Obviously, with the hat on there. How do you feel about this Sixers team? And would there be, I suppose, let's say 2 Sixers that you would be looking to trade in the next round? Because obviously there's no double games or buys.
Yeah. Well, I'll start off with this because it is important, but that game is very unlikely to happen. We've got a 60% chance of showers, not light. It's a shame because there's guys like Jack Edwards at around 115,000 who's bowling 3 to 4 overs and batting at number 3. Like, that's an incredible role. Have you seen Marcus Bean in real life?
He's 7 foot.
He's 7 foot, and he's got peroxide blonde hair.
Yeah,
it's
a specimen.
I'm just watching him bowl right now. Oh, geez, that's massive. He bowls a heavy ball.
Yeah, well, that's what I say.
Yeah, it has a heavy. No, so I don't know if that game's going to go ahead. If it does, Jack Edwards, Sean Abbott, Steve Smith, they're the obvious candidates because they've been Abbott and Smith have been their best scorers for the majority of this last little period, barring Abbott's 8 last night. But throw into it, you've got Jack Edwards with a supreme role. Jaffa Chowan, he looked good last night without taking any wickets. 4 overs, none for 30. I only got to watch 2 overs because everything fell from the skies here in Sydney. But otherwise, that was fun. They'd be my 3 Sixers. But I'm not optimistic for that game.
Yeah, it just turned out that the week that I trade out Jack Edwards, he actually bats 3 and opens the bowling. So I was very happy about that. Yeah, the weather in Sydney last night. Mitch Owen
Mitchell on
wicket.
wicket. Mitchell on wicket.
That's Brian as well. Brian's in form. Anyway,
Yeah, he's a top 5 run scorer in the comp, Brian.
he is. He,
You agree?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we had some solar panels blown off our roof yesterday, so you can say thanks to Pat Carnes for that. But
How are you, Pat?
I don't. Yeah, well, I think if I had, I'll just quickly pose this question: if I had more than 3 Thunder/Sixers players, how are you looking to trade in, considering weather tomorrow?
So this is tricky because when you're looking at trades and you're looking at the best players you have from these teams, the names of Stephen Smith and David Warner come up, right? Now, they're both bat onlys, so one of them has to go. I dare say I'm selling Warner of the two.
Could flex one in theory.
You could flex one, but like then you don't have a backup there if if it's washed out.
Yeah.
So that just gets tricky. So I'd be playing Smith, selling Warner, and then probably looking to hold. To be honest, I'm probably holding Abbott, and I'm probably moving off my Thunder guys. That's what I'll be thinking of doing, because there's a bit of money in them. Like Hasnain, I foolishly traded in Hasnain, and that hasn't worked out for me at all.
Happens.
But Warner, he's at a high price, and then who's the other one I've got?
Billings?
Oh, Chris Green, of course. Chris Green. Oh, maybe he stays ahead of Abbott just because he does both. But yeah, he'd stay ahead of Abbott.
Okay.
There you go.
Bit of weather stuff for you, which we've been pretty lucky for. We've only had the 2 games called off for weather. Thunder Hurricanes on and Sixers Heat and Coffs Harbour.
Yeah.
So we've been pretty lucky in that regard. Renegades Heat is on Saturday. Double header on Saturday. How good. Starting at 5 p.m. in Melbourne. I've just checked Melbourne weather. It looks all right. Meant to be sunny all tomorrow. It's in Marvel as well, so roof would be on, I suppose. My probably biggest question is, would you be looking to trade in Bethel for the Renegades?
Not at Marvel. No, it's just a bad batting wicket. For me, I'm going after spinners if I'm targeting that game. And I don't know that Bethel does bowl spin, but they have just brought in Callum Stowe, who did bowl pretty well. If I'm really strapped for funds, which I doubt you will be at this point, then maybe you go with him. But for me, I think I'm not going to be targeting this game very heavily, if at all, because this just screams to me Will Sutherland will have to do everything again for the Renegades. And for the Heat, I think Spencer Johnson will do well on this wicket because he has change-ups and good change-ups.
And he's hot.
And he's hot, yeah. And blonde hair, blue eyes, fresh haircut.
Tan. How's the hair? Seriously.
It's a Ken doll. That's what it is.
That's the only reason I watched that stupid Brisbane Heat movie.
They have a Brisbane Heat movie?
Yeah, because they won the comp last year and they're a massive underdog.
Seriously. Seriously, grow up.
Good on the Heat for winning last season. If you had to pick between Johnson or Bartlett going into this round?
Johnson. As a Bartlett owner, I'm going Johnson. I like the change-ups that Johnson has. Bartlett, on a pacey deck, he can move the ball. He can be very lethal with it, with the new ball. But on a slower deck where you've really got to get it into the wicket and bowl cutters, that's not his strength. And he can bowl a hittable length, and it does go at times. It's the only knock on him as a short form bowler is that sometimes his length is a bit too easy to get under.
I'd probably agree with that. Yeah, I think I am a Spencer Johnson owner, and I am relatively happy sticking with that over Xavier Bartlett. Got a
Hmm.
couple points batting last round. Anyway, we'll move on. The latter game at 8:15 in Perth, obviously, because that's the only time they can hold double headers. Oh, they held one in Adelaide the other day. Anyway, Scorchers, Strikers, speaking of Adelaide, play at 8:15 at the Optus.
At
Cooper
the
Connolly,
Optus.
the Optus.
Yep.
Cooper Connolly, obviously, stud. But probably, you know, I reckon most people would have traded in Smith last round. Now,
Yeah.
how how likely are you to pivot to short? And I guess what is your opinion on people who would be looking to go to Matthew Short, even despite his low score in past game?
Well, with Matthew Shaw, he really only had one good batting score all season. Like that 100 was his one big game. The rest
Yep.
of it, he's just chipped away and worked his way to a 60 average, which says a lot about the caliber of Matt Short. That he's had to work hard to get to us. He's had to work hard and look like he was struggling and still averaging 60. Now, I'd be willing to pick up Matt Short, but for me, I'm leaning more towards releasing cash from Smith because he's going to be 260, 270 next round sort of thing. And that cash can go a long way in your squad. And there's a certain guy, and he's not very expensive at all, actually. Tell me that's a wicket. No, it's not. There's a certain guy by the name of Aaron Hardy. Now, I know he's not been playing very well, but Connolly, this is his final game at the Big Bash before he jets off to Sri Lanka. It's at Optus Stadium, a notoriously pacier wicket. Aaron Hardy has been cleared to bowl, but didn't last game due to conditions. What I'm leading to here is that Hardy's like a lock to bowl at some point in this game. He bats in the top 3 or 4. He needs to find form ASAP. Well, he doesn't actually because they're getting knocked out, aren't they? Yeah. I was going to say he
I
needs to
think the
bowl for
result of this
finals.
game, really determines that, I believe. At least that's what I'm told, despite what I see on the ladder. But anyway, I let the people do what the people do, and I just
You
information
view it.
spew out information. I don't mind that Aaron Hardy pick, if I'm being honest.
Well, because he's also like 80,000. Like it's
Yes.
cheap as. There's that as well. Like, yeah. Anyway, we can move on from that one, I think.
Any other striker you might like to trade in?
Jamie Overton, if he's playing next game, I'm not sure that he is. But he's an all-round top 6 bat. One of the key bowlers for them. Hard to ignore him.
Yep.
Ever.
Last game of the regular season at least, and this could have some implications. It's the Stars and the Hobart Hurricanes in Melbourne on Sunday, 7:15 p.m. A couple of Stars went off for their last game. I think Marcus Stoinis had a decent cumulative SuperCoach score. Glenn Maxwell had that 92.
Yeah, something around there. 90 or 52, maybe.
Maybe that's where I'm getting the 2 from. Had a big SuperCoach score regardless. Are you looking, well, if you have Stars, are you looking to trade them if you've held them, or do you sort of have to play them if you've held them?
I mean, I'll be targeting Glenn Maxwell next round. That's the first and foremost. Season on the line is a bit of it's adjacent. I think his name's Max Kellerman of ESPN. One shot, game on the line, fate of the universe. Do you want Iguodala or Steph Curry? Give you a hint. Glenn Maxwell isn't Iguodala in this case, despite what he yells out. Give me Glenn Maxwell. I want Glenn Maxwell. It's all on his shoulders, and Glenn Maxwell's at his best when it's all on his shoulders.
Yeah, we saw that when they played the Renegades the other night, and they were gone 7 for 75.
Yep.
They were at one point before Maxi really got going. We can always draw back to that Afghanistan innings as well, and he's done it countless times before as well. The Hurricanes are on the double game week this round rather. In terms of keeping Hurricanes, I assume. I mean, I would at least. I'm going to keep Mitch Owen, I think, and I'd probably keep. Yeah, because I made the mistake of keeping Chris Jordan. Not my fault. On a plane, excuses deluxe. I'll probably be keeping him because apparently he will be able to play. I don't know if he's away though, so we'll have to see what I do there. But how many Hurricanes are you looking to keep?
I don't think I'll be selling many, if any, of my Hurricanes that's not named Ben McDermott. I held him, even though he was ruled out of the first game, in hope that he might play the second and be a megapod. That didn't pan out because, well, misinformation from Matthew Wade. I blame him solely. It has meant that Jake Doran is currently my wicketkeeper, my starting wicketkeeper this round. So I'm going to have to address that position. That's clear. So, I'm going to ask you the question. All right.
Oh no.
What wicketkeeper should I look at?
Well, it would be interesting because someone like an Ollie Pope, who has shown zero form, basically, except with a couple of sort of runnable 30s and not high SuperCoach scores at least, but then has scored 82 in the last game. I wouldn't mind the other strikers wicketkeeper, not Harry Nielsen, but Alex Carey. I know there's been no form to back that up, but on a bit of a pacier wicket, I sort of like Carey at Optus. That would be my number one for keeping. It wouldn't be Sam Harper, who I don't know if you still have. You might. But it wouldn't be him. Never has been, never will be. It'd probably be one of the strikers keepers for me. Sam Billings has been a bit out of form and he's playing that Sydney game, so I wouldn't be trading him in.
I am thinking Carey. I like that sort of where I was thinking, but I wanted some validation.
There you go. Well, you will.
Yeah, it turns out I do have Sam Harper, so there's that. I could go that. I mean, it's going to be opening the batting. I could just say stuff you to the keeper position. I'm very tempted by that option, actually.
The flex was made for people like Sam Harper.
Well, the flex was made so that I could have people like Sam Harper as my starting wicketkeeper this season. Because it actually hasn't hurt me one bit not having a proper good keeper. Like Sam Harper has averaged 25.4 this season. And Jake Doran's on 17 in a double game round. Admittedly, hasn't batted yet. But we're 3/4 of the way through. He's on 17 points. And I reckon I will finish in the top 2 or 3% of scores this round. And that just says a lot about wicketkeepers this season. You don't need a good one. And that's one of the key learnings I'm going to take away from this. Next year, I'll probably start Sam Harper again. Why not? Because he'll be cheap. And I'll convince myself, he's got a good role. He can improve, maybe. And my voice will slowly get higher. And it will be a direct correlation to his points slowly getting lower as the season goes on. And we'll reach a point where I can't be heard and he can't score points. And that's where we'll find ourselves in BBL 15. Anyway, back to you.
Provided he has a contract, that is.
I'll still pick him without one.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
A bit like Tom Brady in NFL fantasy, but that's getting to different stuff. That wraps us up, I think. I don't know if we'll be doing a season review show / round 9 review. We'll have to see about that. Okay,
if we have the time. If we have the time, we may as well.
Anyway,
we make the time. We make the time for you consumers.
Correct. That's what we do here. We We provide. That's what we just give.
And
That's
you
what we
take.
Well, they do a little. That's probably a little bit of an understatement, even.
Now, admittedly,
give.
like you could say they're getting their money's worth because this isn't worth a thing. Literally, it's free. It's on YouTube. Just
And
go
does that
to
say
a
something about us?
computer.
Maybe.
Go to a computer at your local library and you plug some headphones in that you found on the street. Plug them in. You can listen to us anytime, really.
Or without headphones.
Or blare it out loud, and it's me explaining how high my pitch of my voice is relative to Sam Harper's point scoring. And I'll make an equation for it because that's my proclivity to make everything into numbers. Mana's got a 50. Interesting. Maybe there's something to having these test players in the Big Bash, like we talked about.
Who would have thought, right?
Yeah.
Imagine Mitch Stark bowling David Warner in the Sydney Smash.
Oh, well, Warner's not lasting 3 balls, first of all.
Starkey.
Second of all, if Starkey doesn't get 6 for in the first game of Big Bash he plays, then I'll be bitterly disappointed.
It's the first 6 balls. Anyway, we said we'd wrap up. We're going to wrap up. We're almost at the end of the Big Bash SuperCoach season. We will.
What a
catch.
Sorry, I got distracted. Keep going.
We will catch you guys on the interwebs, on the YouTubes, on the Instagrams, Twitter maybe. We don't have a Snapchat, and that's never going to happen.
Tinder.
We'll see you around. Well.
Yeah.
Latest.